The thoughts, views, and comments expressed by the hosts, guests, and callers on Beyond the Headlines are not necessarily those of management, ownership, or production unit of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is a production of ILTV Studios and cannot be reproduced or represented in part or entirety without express written permission of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is the intellectual property of the Verizon Media Group. Copyright 2021.
Commissioner of Police Clayton Fernando acknowledging the culture of corruption that exists at various levels of Bahamian society as the organization he leads, the Royal Bahamas Police Force, reels from a series of scandals. The commissioner made the acknowledgement during a national statement last evening. While he did, he also pointed out the case involving the murder of Giovanni Roll, putting into question the entire investigation given last week's revelations that put senior police officers at the center of a drug investigation by the feds. That highlight got the attention of Roll's family, who have been asking for an update on the murder investigation for months. Tonight, they join me with even more questions, along with their attorney, Jeff Lloyd, and former Minister of National Security, Marvin Dames, the family's private investigator. It's all straight ahead for you tonight. This is Beyond the Headlines. Good evening. I'm Shanique Miller. A lot to get to. First, Commissioner of Police Clayton Fernando promising to root out corruption. He made the strong statement during a national address last evening, an address that got the attention of the nation. Thousands logging onto various platforms to hear just how the commissioner would address a series of scandals that have rocked the Royal Bahamas Police Force in recent months, eroding the trust placed in the organization and putting the force under a suspicious light. Bahamians particularly waited to hear the commissioner address the matter involving a senior police officer in the matter of drug smuggling allegations, as well as possession and use of firearms, now a matter before the court in the Southern District of New York. And Fernando did, agreeing with the recent IDB report that there is a culture of corruption among Bahamians. But it was the mention of the murder investigation of Giovanni Roll on Father's Day of this year that especially caught his family's attention, opening up their painful wound all over again. Well, joining me this evening is Melanie Hilton, Giovanni's sister, LaShawn Bo Green, Giovanni's aunt via Zoom, and Jeff Lloyd, the family's attorney. Good evening to all of you. Welcome to Beyond the Headlines. It's great to have you both here. Joining me in studio at the moment, we'll start here with Melanie and, of course, Mr. Lloyd. Good evening to you both.
Good evening.
Melanie, I want to ask, when the family heard the commissioner mention Giovanni's name last evening, and that the indictment now puts into question the investigation that you all had questions about to begin with, share the family's reaction.
Shanique, we had so many feelings. It was kind of difficult to just say just one, because from the beginning, from inception, we had so many unanswered questions. And we just really wanted to know what had happened and wanted to seek justice for our brother, the law-abiding and kind person that he was. We couldn't understand what had happened. That those unanswered questions that followed the weeks after his murder, we knew that we needed the assistance of experts. And we just decided that we needed to have an objective party that would help us navigate the situation and to piece together all of the things that were happening. And that is why we engaged Mr. Dames and his team to help us navigate and have an objective party that could help bring some sense to what was happening for us.
Well, where were you getting before that? I mean, it was a shocking news that kind of ripped through the nation early Father's Day morning, a Sunday morning at that. What was police doing or not doing that caused you to have to reach out to Mr. Dames, who we will speak with after the break, and then obviously Mr. Lloyd, who is a family member, but in this capacity, the family's attorney?
Like I said, there were a lot of unanswered questions. We couldn't understand how an incident had occurred at the
At the gateway.
At the gateway of our country. Was just not, we're not able to explain to us what had happened. There must have been CCTV cameras. We just weren't getting the answers that we thought we should get. And we wanted to know and understand. We wanted answers. Like, we just wanted to have the justice that we thought our brother deserved. And like I said, knowing the kind of person that he was, this just didn't make sense to us.
Right, and so according to the family, what the family knows, I mean, he is not this type of person to have even been involved in something that perhaps went awry, to have landed him where he unfortunately is this evening.
I've had the opportunity to watch him grow for 38 years into the kind, loving person that he was, and anyone who had the opportunity to know him during his lifetime could attest to his character. He was a wonderful father to his two beautiful children, and he was a God-fearing person. He loved his mother, his family. He was a homebody and very, very recluse. So he did not, go out very much. Everything was home and family. So no, it did not make sense to us.
Now, there was initially a lead that the officers identified immediately, the investigators, and then that soon went cold. That person was dismissed as no longer a person of interest. But then there appeared to be no other direction the investigation was pointed in. What was the family thinking then?
Like I said, we had a lot of unanswered questions and a lot of things that didn't really make sense because, like I said, this was the gateway of our country, and it just didn't make sense that there were no answers. There was a person of interest. It was dismissed pending further investigation is all we were advised at the time. We didn't have any further information about that.
Nothing at all, even with the $50,000 reward?
Not even with the $50,000 reward. Again, so we knew something was amiss.
Quite interesting. Mr. Lloyd, you are a family member, but you are also this family's attorney. This indictment that pulls together the person who initially was a suspect and a leading police officer stationed in aviation at the airport. How does this paint law enforcement internationally? Before we even talk about the toll it's taken on the family.
Well, Shanique, thank you so much for being here. Obviously, I mean, it's an established fact that we are very disappointed and ashamed as a nation that our country and our law enforcement agency, the primary agency for enforcement of the law in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, is now being tainted, has been tainted by our closest neighbor and our most significant trading partner. So it is a deep a concern to us. And naturally, Bahamians want answers. As you hear Melanie speak this evening, the difficulty and the frustration that this family has suffered is that there has not been the kind of updates from the Royal Bahamas Police Force in a timely fashion. Answers that were expected and requested have not been forthcoming in a way that is satisfactory. And as you understand, that there was the need to engage a private investigator. And even up to this day, according to this moment, we still have an issue with getting the kind of answers and feeling that the police force is advancing this investigation in a way that is satisfactory, not only to this family, but to the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
Absolutely.
Because as you indicated earlier, this is an incident that ripped through the heart and the mind and the soul of our country on a Father's Day, in an environment where it's, supposedly to be rather a safe place, and against a young man who is just phenomenal in terms of his character and upbringing and the station that he held in life.
I tell you, it's quite heart-wrenching to hear this all over again. Mr. Lloyd, what role, if any, at this point would the Attorney General's office have played, and how would they have moved this investigation forward if they play a role at this point?
Well, they can't. I mean, you know, obviously the Attorney General has to wait for evidence to be brought to its attention so that it can then decide what action it's going to take and give directions to the Director of Prosecutions. And as, again, we have to repeat, unfortunately, that investigation is not as aggressive as we believe it ought to be. We don't believe that the persons and many other persons who could be maybe of an assistance to the police have been questioned or re-questioned, if I can use that term, in a manner which would bring some understanding to the police as to really the fullness of the activity that occurred the night before, the morning of, and the time after. So, you know, it's
so
quite...
this almost immediately became a cold case?
Well, I wouldn't say immediately, but it certainly has gone cold rather quickly. And again, this is disheartening. And I emphasize again, Shanique, it's not only disheartening to our country, but it's certainly to our family. And I mean, you could imagine how, you know, raw the wound is.
Yes.
That something like this, still with my dear cousin and her family now having to go through this all over again, where this has not been resolved, and it doesn't appear as if it's being resolved in a way that is satisfactory to this family, but to the nation. You know, we want to be a country that is law-abiding, that we can feel that the police, whom we repose our trust in, is advancing and carrying on their responsibilities in a way that is professional and without, you know, the possible influence of outsiders.
Is there any confidence, Mr. Lloyd and Melanie, to hear the police commissioner refer last evening to Giovanni and the fact that now this investigation may come up questionable?
Well, it's certainly no confidence to me. I mean, the police, the commissioner is the person responsible for the Royal Bahamas Police Force. It is in his lap that this responsibility must fall. And if there is not the satisfaction to this family and to the nation that an investigation has come close to being completed with somebody or some bodies being possibly, you know, charged before the court, well, who else are we to blame? Who else are we to hold accountable and responsible but the head of the Royal Bahamas Police Force? And I'm sure that, you know, Mr. Fernandez is doing the best that he can, but that best in this circumstance simply is not sufficient.
You think he's lacking?
Well, look at the results. I mean, I have all the due respect for the man, but I'm just saying, look at the results. Here is a family 5 months later that is still waiting for there to be a proper and a final conclusion to a matter that really has gripped their hearts and minds and souls and that of the nation. So take a look at the results.
Justin, we can bring in LaShawn. Of course, LaShawn Bowe is the aunt of Giovanni. But Melanie, I want to ask you, is there confidence that now your Giovanni has been mentioned again nationally, this time out of the very mouth of the Commissioner of Police, that listen, wait, this investigation, we can't trust that. We got to perhaps start over, etc. Is the family more confident that it'll begin getting answers?
I wouldn't say that we're more confident, because when trust is broken, it's difficult to repair. But we're going to wait for some action before we can say that. But what I would say is that we are still trusting and hoping and praying that the authorities will do what is needed, what is just, and what is necessary to move this investigation forward.
Do we have LaShawn there, Justin? Because good evening to you, LaShawn. Thank you very much for joining me here on Beyond the Headlines. How are you feeling?
Hi, Shanique, and good evening, Bahamas. I am angry. You know, I try to suppress my feelings quite a bit, but this situation is not only devastating to our family and my sister, it causes you to have anxiety. The ongoing crime, the lack of solutions, the fact that Gio was a law-abiding citizen and was assassinated going into work, how predictable was his activities, what is the cause, knowing the motive behind this. And he was not into the same criminal activities or criminal activities at all.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to make that very clear and squash that once and for all.
Mm-hmm.
And we would not be here. You would not see his family fighting for him in this way if he was a shady person. I could tell you that matter of factly. Gio is the only son of my sister Rosie, who is only a shell of herself since June 16th.
Mm-hmm.
And I am here not only fighting for Rosie, I'm fighting for my mother, who is turning over in her grave because of this. And trust me, I do not take this lightly at all. And I hear the commissioner and revisiting the case, but I need to see action.
So
I need to see action. And not
you're
only
not
that.
convinced, LaShawn.
Pardon?
You are not convinced.
I am not convinced. I am a woman of action. Always.
LaShawn,
Talk is cheap. My mom would say money buy land.
Yeah.
I need to see action behind this. He was murdered at the airport, and you tell me not one CCTV is working? And despite us enlisting the services of Mr. Dames, there's only so much that we could request.
Mm-hmm.
There are restrictions that only the police could request certain evidence. So I expect now that the police force to go back, well, if they could, to go back and retrace every step. But not only that, Shanique, and Jeff would pinch me if he could, but there needs to be some type of quality assurance behind every investigative file. I am wondering, one, you didn't see a press conference for Giovanni, did you?
No, I don't recall.
Did you see a press conference for Giovanni? There was one police at the scene that morning when Giovanni was murdered. One police. But the police station is 3 minutes away, if that. 3 minutes walk. So a 30-second drive to where he was murdered. This is serious business, and that's why we buried Giovanni, and I think the next week we had to figure out what we're going to do, because it was obvious. A blind man could see this wasn't going anywhere.
And apparently it's stalled, you know, so the family was right in its assumptions. But talk about the toll it's taken. You mentioned Rosie, Giovanni's mother, his sisters, Melanie sitting right beside me, his other sisters, you who grew up as a sister to Giovanni. Talk about the toll it's taken on the family.
Unique, we are using sleeping pills. Rosie is depressed. Rosie lost 40 pounds plus. You hear me? How this have me shaking. I am looking around, even though I am remote, I am still looking around and have anxiety because of this. You are going on to your work, outside of your work, and somebody is waiting on you. And not only that, we have to hold other governing bodies accountable, because this isn't the first incident this person was involved in. But a week later, after Gio's incident, or a week or two, they were on the ramp flying. So what does that say?
So you were saying that the entire lot of every organization, entity, etc., must be involved in this investigation, and also
Where do you get your license in the Bahamas? Which body?
I think they're trying to iron that out now, the Civil Aviation Authority. But listen, Melanie, LaShawn, thank you. And the nation feels your pain, believe me. We're stunned. If you drive around town enough, you will see huge posters of Giovanni as you're holding up his photograph right there.
And Shanique, I can tell you, that speaks to his character. We have a network of friends and family that pool our resources to put together enough money to put those flyers up. His sisters went all over Nassau. You see even in the grocery store, his flyers, right? Yeah. You have a reward going out. We had to ask the police to put it on their Facebook page. There was no bulletin out on the police Facebook page. There was no press conference. There was little investigative work for the visitors and the witnesses. So things like that. I mean, you watch these shows, these criminal shows all the time. So you know what the police do. So it was like a routine for me. And not seeing it, it just made me realize we are not going to get this solved unless we really put feet to the fire.
Mr. Lloyd, Melanie, you will stay with me in the next segment as we speak with Mr. Dames, who is the private investigator in this matter. that the family is engaged. But Mr. Lloyd, where should this family even begin looking next, and what the next step should be after that acknowledgement by Commissioner of Police Fernando last evening?
Well, Shanique, they have already engaged private investigator, former Minister of National Security, the Honorable Marvin Dames, of course, will be in the next segment. But here's a family that cannot even grieve. Their grief has been delayed, and you know the kind of infliction that on their emotional and mental and physical bodies that they are suffering. They've got to be more or less like the police, going after and searching out and seeking how they may be able to bring justice for Gio and his children and our family. So this is incalculable that we would still be at this place 5 months later on for us to be begging, as it were, that there should be something done, and hopefully something will be done. We want to trust the police. We must trust the police.
We have to.
But it is shaken now in a certain respect because of what has now been transpired. And this is personal. It's personal to Jeffrey Lloyd, it's personal to Melanie, it's personal to Rosie, and every member of our family. We are a tight-knit family, all across the board. And now for us to be going through this, I'm here, Melanie's here, and so on, to go through this in a way that just is frustrating, and it's only adding further burden to the grief that we have to carry.
I imagine, we can only imagine, and our thoughts and prayers to the family. When we come back, we are going to be joined by former Minister of National Security, former Deputy Commissioner of Police, Marvin Dames, who is the family's private investigator, to put a number of questions to him. How far has his investigation gotten to this point? And also, remember, the Commissioner said he intends to speak with Mr. Dames to ask about that investigation that started in 2021 and when he was Minister. We'll ask him about that as well. This is Beyond the Headlines. We're back right after this.
Cancer Treatment Centers of America is now City of Hope, creating one of the leading cancer care and research networks from coast to coast, providing more of what you need. More locations means more care closer to home. More specialists means more expertise. More research means more breakthroughs. More advancements means more treatment options. And more options means more hope. Call now to get more of the care you need.
You work hard to provide for and protect the ones you love. However, life can present unexpected challenges. Who you call in times of need matters. Insurance Management is a Bahamian-owned company that has been serving our community for over 40 years, offering a wide range of coverage for all of your personal, professional, and commercial needs. When life happens, rest easy knowing that our skilled and experienced agents are there for you in your time of need, so that you can get back to what matters most. Insurance Management. Nobody does it better.
For carpets, bed sheets, and bath mats, there's a place I know. For shower curtains, comforters, and window curtains, only one place to go. Fixing your home or automotive, that's no fuss. We put a smile on your face, come and shop with us. For all you need and more, shop at AID for Christmas.
Well has expanded their testing menu. We now offer blood work, drug screening, and so much more. Our hours of operation are Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Saturday, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m., located on 11 Madera Street. We are here for all of your laboratory needs, with fast and reliable lab work done by our friendly and knowledgeable staff. Let us help you take the needed steps to stay in the know about your health. Let's keep working towards a healthier you. Stay eatin' well.
This segment of Beyond the Headlines is brought to you by EV Motors. Drive the future with brand new 2024 electric vehicles. EV Motors, powering your journey.
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. It's good to have you join us. We are speaking with the family of Giovanni Roll, the father of two that was shot multiple times at the LPIA property at a private airport facility there on that compound. On Father's Day, early in the morning, the murder shocked the nation. His family is here speaking about that, and in particular, hearing Commissioner of Police Clayton Fernandez during his address last evening admit that perhaps, you know, the investigation maybe wasn't given the attention it needed. That's needed just based on what played out nationally and internationally from the FBI and their investigation involving senior police officers last week. And so a lot's going on. We're going to get right back into this discussion. Welcome to Beyond the Headlines, former Minister of National Security, former Deputy Commissioner of Police, the family's private investigator, Marvin Dames. Good evening to you, Mr. Dames. It's good to have you here.
Good evening, Shanique. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes, and of course, Melanie continues to be here with us, but I want to jump right in, Mr. Dames. How far has your investigation gotten you? This family hasn't gotten anywhere in terms of the official investigation by the Royal Bahamas Police Force, but you stepped in and is engaged as a private investigator. Where has that gotten you? What have you found out?
Shanique, I was approached by the family months ago, actually not too long after the murder itself. And they requested my assistance in investigating the matter. I just want to touch on what my brother Jeff Lloyd would have said. I decided to take the matter on because of the family themselves. This is a close-knitted family, a family when they sat with me months ago was grieving and in search of answers. Mm-hmm. And so when we took the matter on, we commenced work almost immediately, and we investigated this matter for several months. After our investigations had concluded, but would have reached a point where we felt it was necessary to sit with the commissioner and his investigations team. Mm-hmm. We, at that time, presented a file. Now, our file was about a 3-inch binder with lots of statements.
How thick was the police file?
Well, I can't speak to the police file. I can't speak to that. But one thing I must say that during the course of the investigations, we felt it was necessary to sit with the investigators, the Assistant Commissioner Goodman, who I feel who is in charge of crime now, a very, very decent officer. And we wanted to support, in this case, the police investigations, because as private investigators, our reach is limited to an extent. There are things that the police and only the police can do. Mm-hmm. And so we took a position that we will do as much as we can to collect as much evidence as we can to support whatever the police had been doing. When we presented that file to the commissioner, I think it was more than a month ago, the commissioner was gracious enough to have us at a meeting. I attended along with my team of investigators, as well as the family of Giovanni. And we presented the evidence in our file. and we had several copies of the file, and we left a copy with the commissioner and his team. And really the contents of the file itself, as I said before, asked a lot of questions. And I think for us as private investigators, we want to expose as much as we can, all right? That will enable the police to compare what they would have done to what we did.
But were you satisfied at that point then that they had done as much as you had, you and your team had?
Again, we were not privy to their file, but I will say this much, that we felt that we would have covered all of the bases, even with the questions.
You and your team?
Me and my team, even with the questions.
So they showed up at their hands.
That would have taken the police along a path that at some point will bring this investigation to a head. During our meetings with the police, they felt that, I mean, we were both on the right track. We were along that lane that they were traveling as well. And so we hope, and it was our intentions to ensure at the end of the day that whatever we provided to the police would have been sufficient of enough support to at least get them thinking and looking along different paths to bring this investigation to a head.
Mr. Dames, obviously your report sat where you left it because it didn't move. This is what the issue is. The police investigation has not moved.
Well, time will tell. The commissioner assured us that he would meet with us again, and we're holding him to that. We would have given them sufficient of enough time so that we can now re-engage them to see where they are in terms of their investigations as it relates to this matter.
Where do you think the trust is of the police force? And we know it's, a kid can answer it, right? But the point is, the force has been hit hard. It's reeling, in fact, scrambling to try to get back on its feet. Have you ever seen, you are a senior member, a former senior member of the force, a former Minister of National Security. Have you ever seen the force at such a point where it's like buckling under all this pressure, all this harsh glare of the spotlight, negatively, all of it?
Well, really, not only the force, the nation. And I was saddened by the fact that when the initial corruption allegations started to show its head, I believe it was the Prime Minister, the nation's chief, who said that, he can't get involved with the business of the force. And I said to myself, if you're the commander-in-chief of this nation, you have a responsibility to get involved, especially when it comes to the trust of the most important law enforcement organization in your country. All right? And so we're still at this point in this nation where we're seeking answers and we don't have them.
So you feel the Prime Minister, based on the stain that's happened internationally and nationally, there's no regard for law enforcement. He should have played
the Prime Minister and the government of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. That's a responsibility. That's your responsibility. See, the vast majority of the officers in the Royal Bahamas Police Force are decent, law-abiding citizens who want to get the job done. But the fact that we're ignoring these allegations, it brings the entire organization under a microscope. All right? And as long as we continue to ignore these allegations, the organization itself will continue to rot from within.
To suffer, because I'll tell you, you see a patrol car now or one of those trucks they drive, and you just feel a suspicion. It is absolutely eroded the trust of Bahamians of when they see those lights going or those uniforms walking by. But yes, go ahead.
This is beyond the force, okay? While there is some blame to be had, this is beyond the force. Our nation's reputation is at stake. And the sad and unfortunate...
It's damaged.
The sad and unfortunate thing is that you have a government who is shift into spin mode. Okay? You can't spin the truth. All right? And the truth now rests in the hands of the most powerful nation in this world. So you can do all your spinning you want to do internally, but at the end of the day, the truth will expose itself. And so we have to come to a point in this country where we have to demand of our government to do its job.
I agree
and its
with you.
job is not to acquiesce, not to abdicate its responsibility to the commissioner, the assistant commissioner, the deputy commissioners, and the rank and file. That's not the job of the government. We have serious allegations being put at the foot of the Royal Bahamas Police Force, at the doorstep of the most important law enforcement organization in this country. And it's unfair to thrust that on the commissioner himself and say, you figure it out.
So the commissioner bears no blame?
No, I'm not saying the commissioner bears no blame. What I am saying here is this problem now has expanded
Escalated
way beyond the
him.
organization.
Well, let's talk about beyond the organization.
This is now a national problem.
Absolutely.
All right? That can impact us not only from a crime standpoint, but also from an economic standpoint.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
And this is what Bahamians are ignoring. We have to set aside the political games that are being played. All right? Let's call Marvin Dames. Let's call Anthony Ferguson.
Well, Marvin Dames,
okay?
wait a minute, Marvin Dames, because your name was mentioned. The commissioner, Clayton Fernandez, said he must call Marvin Dames because Marvin Dames. That investigation started under your tenure as Minister of National Security. What do you know about the officer who was in charge of the airport, who I understand that you placed there?
When Marvin Dames, I don't transfer officers throughout the Royal Bahamas Police Force. That officer was assigned to the airport long before I got there. Okay, long before I got there, because he was in the business of aircrafts. But let me say this. I served in some of the most critical areas of the Royal Bahamas Police Force. Okay? Myself and Reginald Ferguson started modern day intelligence in this country. I was in charge of DU and CID or CDU all at one time. I had no difficulties communicating with my foreign counterparts, US, UK, Canadian, or otherwise. And we worked together to address problems that were impacting us in this region and our respective nations. I had no problems getting information.
But were you aware that there was an investigation that started in May of 2021?
I cannot speak to what's going on today. I can't speak to somebody else's investigations. I'm not the person they ought to be speaking to. They ought to be speaking to the Americans. That's who they ought to be speaking to.
So they shouldn't call you, call former Prime Minister Minnis and all these people. They shouldn't call these people, the former other commissioners.
These indictments have been handed down by the United States of America. And no spin here locally is going to change the truth and facts. All right? Between me and my father, we have close to 60 years service in this Royal Bahamas Police Force. All right? My dad served during the time when drugs were being shipped through this region by the tonnage, okay? And we used to hear the horror stories from him, all right? When I joined the force, as I said before, I worked in some of the most sensitive areas of this organization. I still enjoy today good relationships with my friends and colleagues in the United States and other parts of the world. I don't have any problems. I can travel anywhere.
What will
but
you
when
say?
we have issues now, when our government officials are really afraid to hop on a plane and travel to the United States.
Who was afraid? Call names.
Well, I ain't calling no names. I don't have any names to call.
You said they're afraid.
I don't have any names to call, but I guarantee you, many of them are beginning to think about it.
Oh, some
Okay?
on travel.
Many of them are beginning to think about it. But as I said before, you can't spin the truth. And the truth rests in the hands of another nation.
Marvin,
all right? And sooner or later, the truth will reveal itself.
Mr. Dames, what will your response be when the commissioner calls you?
What would my response be? What am I going to say? Tell me. What should I say?
We want to know.
What do you know about a foreign investigation? What do I know? Go directly to the source. That's where the answer is. Go directly to the source. Because when I served, the source came to me. All right? When I served, the source came to me. So if the source are not coming to you, the government or the police force, then we have to ask ourselves the question, why?
Why? Wow.
Why?
Melanie, I want to give you an opportunity for a final comment.
I would just like to say that we will continue to fight for the justice our brother deserves. And if there's anyone under the sound of my voice tonight that has lost a family member, or rather had a family member taken from them as a result of violence, I want to say, do not stop fighting for justice, because they deserve it. And whenever you feel like you can't stand anymore, just pray and cry and cry and pray, and all you have to do is stand, because God is faithful.
Melanie, our thoughts and prayers with you and your family. Losing a loved one, particularly in such a violent way, is never easy. So we support you in your effort and your fight, your ongoing fight. I also want to thank former Minister of Education. I think he served in other areas as well, but attorney for this family, Jeff Lloyd, in the first segment who appeared. And in this segment, you all saw former Minister of National Security and former Deputy Commissioner of Police investigator for this family in this matter, Marvin Dames. Thank both of them as well for joining us. Don't go anywhere, because when we come back, we're going to shift gears and we're going to help you get in the festive mood. Listen, the Red Cross puts on the biggest ball there is. Well, they're here to talk about that and much more after this break. This is Beyond the Headlines. We're back right after this.
Hey, Michelle.
What up, y'all? It's your girl, K. Michelle. December the 28th, I'm going to be in the Bahamas. I'm coming to sing some songs. Yes, Bahamas, K. Michelle. We gonna light some candles tonight. Very special.
Life Jennings.
Yo, what's up? Nassau, Bahamas. Life Jennings is performing December 28th.
And Jay Holiday.
Yo, what's good, man? It's me, your boy Jay Holiday. I'm going to be performing live on Saturday, December 28th.
At the Nassau Cruise Port. Early bird tickets are now available online. Powered by 103.5 The Beat. Nightlife Entertainment. Alpha Sound Promotions. Free Bands Entertainment. 242 Party and Playhouse.
See y'all. Bahamas, December 28th.
Get ready to win Lucky Bucks. Wherever you see this taxi, flag it down.
The boy hard, beating so hard, I will be hard. What here?
I'm looking for my first contestant to ride in the Lucky Taxi.
Walk in the taxi, you gotta do the lucky walk, bro.
Thanks.
Man, thank you, sir. 85 times 2 is how much, brother? You leave it with $170, brother.
I never expected to win as much as I win.
Very excited when the gentleman picked me to ride inside the taxi.
So if I had to choose a game that would stay, it would be Island of Taxi.
You could be next on the Island Lucky Taxi.
What you doing? Where you at? We got a code that you can crack. With Island Luck, you can win. $1 million. 7 digits, 0 to 9. You could redeem your promo points online. You should be guessing and not stressing. Could be $1 million in your possession. No need to question what's happening. We just made up some games to try to get you some money that'll make it alright. So if you wanna change your life, crack the code and stop joking. Crack the code and stop joking. Crack the code and stop joking, y'all. Crack the code and stop joking. If you guess the numbers right, no more stressing. We'll be ballin' tonight, baby. We can make your dreams come true. Crack the code today. Win $1 million only on Island Luck.
So you want a space, but not just any space. We need something with a little more potential. So how about 1,000 square feet of room to play with? Superb audio and video production capability, digital LED wall, full lighting grid, and about 124 seats to accommodate a full studio audience with so many other features. Make us your home for your next concert, conference, and so much more. Honestly, the possibilities are endless. Here at ILTV Studios, we'd love to bring your next event to life. So what do you say? Do you want our space?
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. We'll be going to shift gears this evening, and before we do, I'm going to say hello, of course, to the Bahamas Red Cross. They are here. They're here to share some excellent news, and you know everybody's paying attention at this time of the year. But I want to say, speaking of police, oh Lord, don't they need a little lift up, right? Well, hello and a special welcome who are all watching tonight, and that is the branch in Grand Bahama of DEU officers. They are watching this evening, and it's good to have you all watching. They have reached out, and I just want Constable McDonald, Constable Sands, Inspector Griffin, Superintendent Minnis, outstanding job that they are doing there in Grand Bahama, and also understanding that it's here where they need to be toned in. So hello officers, thank you very much for watching, and thank all of you for watching this evening. It's good to have you tuned in. We are going to welcome the President of the Bahamas Red Cross, Edison Sumner, and Director General Alicia Pinder to this segment of Beyond the Headlines. Good evening to both of you. It's great to have you here. And I'm happy to sort of lighten up the mood after all that in the first two segments and discuss what's going on in the Red Cross.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure being here.
Thank you.
That was intense. It was interesting to watch, but
very, very intense. Yeah, absolutely. That family continues to seek justice, you know.
Yeah.
But let's shift gears and let's talk about what the Red Cross continues to do. It's one of the pillars of Bahamian society, really worldwide anywhere, but Bahamian society that continues to stand in and reach out and make a difference in the lives of the needy, those who are hurting, those who end up on hard times, even in times of disaster. You all are having several fundraising events that the public looks forward to. It's coming up this weekend, in fact. It's a big weekend with the annual raffle, a mini fair, then a tea party. Edison, let's just jump right in and talk about that and the significance of these events.
Thank you very much, Shanique, and again, it's a pleasure being here. As you said, the Red Cross is the go-to organization in this country. It's the only and chief humanitarian organization in the country, which means that when something happens, whether it's a natural disaster, humanitarian issues, human rights issues, the Red Cross is ordinarily the first place that people call, even the government, because we do act as an auxiliary to the government as well. So this weekend we're having activities to help raise funds to support the work of the Red Cross. We are out there working every single day to support the most vulnerable people in our society, and any support that we can get through our own self-efforts. So we're not just sitting back waiting for donations to come through the door or going to with hands out, but we are actually putting ourselves to work every single day to raise the necessary resources that we need in order to fund and support the work of the Red Cross across the entire country. So this weekend, we are hosting our raffle and mini fair on Saturday at the Bailey Park. That begins at 12 noon, where we're going to have activities there to accommodate the entire family. It's going to be a mini version of what we do for our fair every year. And at about 6 p.m. on Saturday evening, we're going to be drawing our raffle prizes.
So this is an all-day fun event.
Yes.
And then in the evening, you stick around, you mill about, see friends, have good food, play games. And then in the evening at 6, there's the drawing.
Yes, and at 6 o'clock is when all the adults come out to play. Those ones who come in to find out, did I win a prize? Is my name in the barrel? Am I going to be drawn out of the barrel to get a prize that evening? So it's going to be a fantastic day. And we know that there are other things happening, and the other events that are happening are also supportive of the Red Cross, because even though it's the day of the event, we're going to have our volunteers who are also going to be out at Montague Foreshore that entire day, helping to sell tickets and get support from those who will be patronizing that event as well.
So a couple of things going on at different spots.
Yes, yes, and it's all going to culminate with the raffle that will be drawn around 6 p.m. on Saturday evening at the Bailey Park. But let me just say this before I forget, and we do run out of time because my DG is here with us as well. I do want to thank the IL Cares Foundation, Sebastian and his team, who came in this year. I reached out to him and said we needed help with some things, and without hesitation, he came and he sponsored the entire book of prizes this year, including the car. So we're going to be raffling off a brand new 2024 electric vehicle.
Yes, absolutely.
So between the cars, the cruises, the stays at the hotels, the cash prizes, the appliances, the gift vouchers, etc., everything that is on the prize book this year have been donated by IL Cares Foundation. So we once again want to say thank you to IL Cares for stepping up to be a significant partner of the Red Cross in our efforts this year.
Alicia, the good thing is that the Red Cross continues to be an organization that Bahamians love to support in the events that you put on, and obviously even when you call and have outreach initiatives, the Red Cross continues to be that one organization that people don't mind extending themselves to.
Yes, it's pretty incredible. When we appeal to the public, we get overwhelming support. And in this instance, it's not different. We actually are at our best when communities come together and support us, because we are the ones that deal with those who are what we call the most vulnerable. So there are people on our programs who aren't able to prepare a hot meal for themselves on a daily basis. Some of the people that we see—
You still do the daily feeding?
Every weekday we provide meals, and then of course we also give non-perishables for the weekends that you can, bread and other items that you can probably just sustain yourselves during the weekend. We are always grateful for the public because they come to our assistance whenever we call. And this is another instance where we are asking Bahamians to donate. Your donation may be in the form of a raffle ticket or several books. That'll be great. But in essence, what we are doing is making life easier for our communities.
Yes. And let's talk about what's going to be happening, as well as the ticket sales for the raffle that you can go to the Montague Foreshore during the day on Saturday to get, and then obviously head on in the evening to Bailey Park. Let's talk about what else is going to be happening there when people go there to be able to find where the tickets will be sold, and that they can have obviously support that.
Well, to begin with, we have been and we will continue this week. This week is the last bit effort, so we're going to make it big. We will be around town, Commonwealth Bank, New Oriental, in front of Island Lock, as well as in the mall, Southwest Plaza, Quality
everywhere
Homes.
Where people frequent.
Right, and of course Thursday we will be at Montague, the best of the best. So those people who are coming there to have a good time there can also find us there, and they'll be able to make their contributions to this very worthy cause. And then on Saturday, parents can bring their kids out. There'll be a bouncing castle, we'll have food, we'll have corn, and fried chicken wings, all of the things on a minor scale of our fair. But we'll a petting zoo, so we'll have activities
with animals
there. Yes, we invited those vendors who support us during the actual fair to come out. A lot is happening, but don't forget us, because we are the people that support community members that are all around you that need help.
No, you guys absolutely do. You have a reputation for decades for doing that.
Yes, not to mention on Saturday, Shanique, that we're also going to have, apart from the food that DG Pinder spoke about, we're also going to have live entertainment there through the day, especially into the evening time. So it's going to be a lot of live activities there. And it's being done so that we can attract more people to come out to spend time there. Families can come and have a wonderful time And then, while you just spend $5 for a ticket or $50 for a book, and get your name in the drawing, and who knows?
You could walk away with several prizes.
Several prizes,
you know what I mean?
right?
Listen, the Red Cross they ain't cheap on their prizes, and you heard exactly who sponsored the selection of prizes this year.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just talk about Sunday though, see, because there's a whole weekend of activities, not just for fundraising, but it's fun, and then people looking for particularly this holiday season, it's already started, so people are looking for somewhere nice to go. Now the tea parties are always like the thing. You need your fascinator and your gloves, yes? Let's talk about Balmoral and what's going to be taking place there.
Well, the season has officially begun. On Sunday at 2 p.m., we will be at Balmoral for our second annual Christmas tea party. It's a holly jolly Christmas, and you don't want to miss it. Tickets are $75. You can get them from committee members online as well, but you can absolutely stop at the Red Cross location and we will get your tickets then. Ladies, bring your fascinators, your gloves, your best dress.
Your phones fully charged, because you have to capture each moment.
A lot of pictures. We'll have vendors there with some special items, so we'll talk a little bit more about that at another press event, but we'll also have vendors that you can get your special authentic Christmas gifts and notions before the event starts.
And where can persons get tickets for the tea party?
The tea party, you can come to the Red Cross. Raffle tickets as well as tea party tickets, you can come to the Red Cross up to Friday afternoon for raffle tickets and tea party when we close. And afterwards, you can get tickets at our various locations. Best of the best, R.M. Bailey Park for your final effort to get in the raffle. Your donations are appreciated.
Absolutely. Once again, the Bahamas Red Cross is making the best of the best even better. They are going to be out there on Thursday selling raffle tickets. You want to step in because, hey, you could be surprised and have your early Christmas present. Also, so that's happening throughout the week. Make sure get your tickets. On Thursday, you can find that tickets there at Montague Foreshore during the best of the best. Then Saturday, tickets again on sale at Montague Foreshore and right there at R.M. Bailey Park, because the drawing happens at 6 in the evening. Then Sunday, the fun continues. Just a little more dressed up this time at the annual Christmas tea party that the Red Cross throws. And this is going to be around the beautiful facility of Balmoral, where you want to dress up, just look very, very British. Have some
very
tea. Very demure, very cutesy, and all the rest of that. But yes, absolutely. So, hey, get on board, guys. Have some wonderful, good, safe, clean fun. The Red Cross has helped making it happen this holiday season, while you help make a difference in anyone's life who is in need, and so many people are nowadays. So I want to commend you both, and the President and Director General of the Bahamas Red Cross. Thank you both so much, and continue the wonderful job you're doing there. Edison Sumner and Alicia Pinder, thank you both very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to thank our guests at the top of tonight's show, Melanie Hilton, the sister of Giovanni Roll, of course his aunt who joined us, LaShawn Bowe via Zoom, Jeff Lloyd, Marvin Dames, and of course here in this segment, Edison Sumner and Alicia Pinder. I also want to thank all of you this evening for tuning in. We certainly enjoyed having you along, and we look forward to seeing you right back here tomorrow evening. For the entire Beyond the Headlines team, I'm Shanique Miller. Make it a great evening, everyone.